Good evening friends. Today our topic is animal tissue. Animal tissues. Animal tissue here. First of all, what is the tissue? Tissue means what? Tissue means a group of cells. Group of cells. In unicellular organisms, a single cell can be perform all functions like digestion, respiration and excretion and reproduction, etc. That all metabolic activities can be performed by the single cell. But multicellular organisms can all this type of functions like digestion, respiration, excretion and reproductions, all functions will be performed some group of cells. Some group of cells. This group of cells is called a tissue. A group of cells is called a tissue. Those group of cells, these cells will be perform all functions. All functions. Such group of cells is called a tissue. Animal tissue mainly 4 types. Animal tissue mainly 4 types depending upon their function and the structure of the cells. Here animal tissues are mainly 4 types. One is epithelium tissue. Epithelial tissue. Second one, connective tissue. Connective tissue. Third one, muscular tissue. Muscular tissue. And fourth one, nervous tissue. Nervous tissue. Okay. Here animal tissues are mainly 4 types. Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue. 4 types of animal tissues is there. Tissue means what are the cells are present. Generally, tissue have cells and intercellular matrix. Intercellular matrix. Intercellular matrix means the symmetry. It will be hold the cells in between cell to cell. So, to connect the cells and intercellular matrix are present. So, in between the cells, those material are present in between the cells, that is called a intercellular matrix. Cells and intercellular matrix are present in the tissue. Tissues have same group of cells or different shapes of cells are present, but this all cells will be function as a for the main purpose, same group of function. All cells can be performed in a single function. All cells will be performed in a single function. Such group of cells is called a tissue. Such group of cells is called a tissue. Here now we are going to discuss about next epithelium tissue. Epithelial tissue. Epithelium tissue, the first animal tissue, epithelial tissue. Epithelium, epi means upon, upper side or inner side, any of the organ or body cavity, vessels or internal organs of that organs are outside, outermost layer, that is called epi. Epi means upon. Thelium means growing. That means a any organs or internal organs or body outermost layer or body cavity outermost layer, it will be formed as the epithelial tissue. This is the epithelial tissue, where in any organs inside of the layer or outside of the layer will be formed as epithelial tissue. Here mainly epithelial tissues, some junctions have there, some junctions. These junctions will be helpful to hold the epithelial cells together. These junctions, mainly these junctions is helpful, the epithelial cells will be hold together. These junctions have mainly three types: tight junctions, and desmatosomes, and gap junctions, tight junctions, desmosomes and gap junctions. See that? Tight junctions, gap junctions and desmosomes. First, tight junctions. This type of junctions are present to tightly arrange the epithelial cells to providing or prevent from the leakage. Generally sweat glands or any glands, they have some secretions. These secretions cannot be leak. So these tight junctions will be prevent of the leakage. Such type of junctions are present in our epithelial tissue. And next, desmosomes. Desmosomes are generally present in muscular epithelial. Desmosomes are present in muscular epitheliums. Those muscular epithelial cells have this desmosomes. Here binding cell membrane, each cell to another cell, they will be binding with the button-like proteins. Button-like proteins are present. They will be helpful to connect the each cells and binding. They will be providing binding for the cells. Muscle cells will be connected each other by the presence of this desmosomes. Muscular epithelium have mostly present of desmosomes. And next, gap junctions. Gap junctions will be helpful to the continuous passage. Here one cell to another cell to transport of ions, nutrients and salts, where the liquids can be pass on through the desmosomes. Like gap canals is there. This plasmodesmotas, they will be helpful to one cell to another cell transport of ions, sugar, ions, some molecules, amino acids, those nutrients are present in the cell. They will be transported by this gap junctions. So mainly here three types of junctions is there: tight junctions, desmosomes and gap junctions. They will be helpful to the epithelial tissues. They hold together, tightly arranged together to helpful to these three types of junctions. Now we are going to what is epithelium. Epithelium means outermost layer. Any of the organs or organ bodies, cavities, blood vessels will be covered with the outermost layer. It is called a epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue mainly two types of layers. Two types of cells or two types of layers are present. One is basal lamina and reticular lamina. basal lamina and reticular lamina. Basal lamina will be provided by the epithelium cells. It is very nearly to the epithelium cells, and reticular lamina to connect to the next cell, next tissue as a connective tissue. Epithelial tissue and next connective tissue, both are will be connected with the reticular lamina. Generally, epithelial tissue has the avascular. Epithelium tissue means avascular. Avascular tissue. Avascular means blood vessels are absent. Blood vessels are absent in the epithelial tissues. Then how they can get the nutrients? By the another cell, by the process of diffusion. They will be get the nutrients without blood vessels, but they can get the nutrients by the process of the diffusion. Epithelial tissue have the absent of blood vessels, but they can, all the cells will be get the nutrients by the process of diffusion. Some surface of the epithelial tissue, some of the cells in pre-surface of the cells, some of microvillis is there, some of the tissues have some microvillis, are ciliates, are stereociliates. Microvillis are stereocilia are present. Microvillis are stereocilia is present. Microvillis will be helpful to increase of area of the or surface of the epithelial tissues, and stereocilious is not non-motile, non-motillic filaments or non-motillic organs is there to helpful to microvillis to increase the area. Now, depending upon the structure, depending upon the shape, functions, here epithelium tissue are classified into 3 types. Epithelial tissue will be classified into 3 types depending upon their structure and shape and functions. Epithelial tissue is mainly 3 types. Simple epithelium and compound epithelium and glandular epithelium. Simple epithelium, compound epithelium, glandular epithelium. Simple epithelium. Simple means here the epithelial cells will be formed as a single layer. Single layer. Observe here, the simple epithelium cells will be formed in a single layer. Single layer. Mainly this single layer epithelial cells are lining of the organs or body cavity or intestinal parts or any internal organs, blood vessels. They will be formed as a lining of internal organs in a single cells layer. Mainly this epithelial tissues mainly work of diffusion and absorption and filtration, secretion. So, this type of functions will be done by the simple epithelium, where the process will be done in diffusion, absorption, filtration, secretion of substances, like processes are done in that areas are present in simple epithelial tissue. In the structure of the cells, depending upon the structure of the cells, simple epithelium are also classified into 3 types. Simple squamous, simple squamous epithelium. See that, simple squamous epithelium. In simple squamous epithelium, here also the cells will be formed in a single layer, but the cells have in a flat tile like structures, flat tile like structures. This each cell have the oval shaped nucleus. Each cell have the oval shaped nucleus. Each cell have the oval shaped nucleus. Generally, this type of simple squamous epithelium, cells are present in the found of endothelium of the blood vessels of endothelium, inside of the blood vessels, endothelium of the blood vessels, and mesothelium of the body cavity like fleuras are around the lungs. Those layers are around the lungs, it is called fleuras, and pericardium membrane. These are all formed with the squamous epithelial tissue. Blood vessels, inside of the blood vessels and outermost layers they covered with as a pericardium membrane, or those are covered with the lungs. These are all layers will be formed with the squamous epithelial tissue. Next, second one, in simple epithelial, we are studying about simple epithelium tissue. Here mainly the structure of the cells. Here simple epithelium will be classified into squamous epithelium. Next, second one, cuboidal. Simple cuboidal epithelial tissue. Simple and cuboidal. Cuboidal means the cells are in a cube shape. The cells are in a cube shapes. The nucleus are, specific nucleus are also present in this cells. Cells will be cube shape. Generally, this type of cuboidal, simple cuboidal epithelial are present in germinal epithelium, and you can know about the nephron structure. You can observe here the nephron, the PGT and DGT, proximal convolutory tubule and dorsal convolutory tubule. In this near of the proximal convolutory tubule and dorsal convolutory tubule will be present this cuboidal epithelial tissue. So you can observe this nephron or pleura of lungs or blood vessels. In this area, this type of functions like diffusion, absorption, especially filtration process will be done in the nephron. So where these functions are done, where this type of functions are done, such functions are done in this area have the present of simple epithelial tissue. First, the depending upon the shape of the cell, squamous epithelial tissue and cuboidal epithelial tissue and columnar epithelial tissue. Columnar epithelial tissue. Here, if you can observe, the cells have the long and cylindrical shape. Cells have the long and cylindrical shapes, tall, long and cylindrical shapes are there. But here also the cells have in a single layer. There is no any multiple layers, here only single layers. So it is a simple epithelium tissue. The cells are present in a long and cylindrical shape. Such type of epithelial cells is called a single columnar epithelium tissue. Single columnar epithelium tissue. But here the surface of the epithelial tissue, some ciliates are there. The presence of the ciliates, columnar epithelials are also divided into two types. Columnar non-ciliate columnar epithelium. If the columnar epithelium cells have the surface of ciliates, if the columnar epitheliums have surface some ciliates. Such type of epitheliums is called a ciliate columnar epithelium cells. But some of the columnar cells, they don't have the any ciliates or microvilli or is there. So this type of epithelial cells is called a non-ciliate columnar epithelium. Non-ciliate columnar epithelium. Then ciliate columnar epithelium generally where it has the present in fallopian tube, ventricles of the brain, central canals and bronchioles. In such areas the ciliate columnar epithelium is present. Where it has present? Fallopian tube and ventricles of central canal and spinal cord and bronchioles. In this area, this ciliate columnar epithelium tissue will be present. Non-ciliate columnar epithelium tissue. Non-ciliate columnar epithelium tissue. These are generally present in stomach and intestine. Stomach and intestine are inside of the stomach and intestine have the present of non-ciliate columnar epithelium tissue. But intestinal columnar epithelial tissue will be the present of microvilli. But microvilli is a helpful to increase the area of columnar epithelium tissue. So only intestinal part have the microvilli present, no any ciliates are not present in the intestinal part of the columnar tissue. So epithelial tissue depending upon the structure, shape and function. Here how many types? Simple, compound, glandular. Simple epithelium has the how many such type of cells depending upon the shape of the cells. Here epithelial, simple epithelial will be classified into squamous epithelial, cuboidal epithelial and columnar epithelial. Next epithelial, second one compound epithelial. Compound epithelium tissue. Compound epithelium tissue. Next compound means here compound are stratified. Compound are stratified. That means layer, more than one layer. Here more than one layers of cells is there. More than one layer. We can learn in a simple epithelium means only single layer of cells are present there. But compound epithelium cells here more than one layers. Generally such type of cells you can observe in our skin. Here you can observe so many layers of there. So many layers. So such type of cells, such type of epithelial tissue is called a compound epithelial. Here also depending upon the shape and structure of the cells and the present of keratin and non-present of keratin, depending upon this compound epithelium are also classified into stratified, keratinoid, squamous epithelium. Compound here stratified and keratinoid, keratinized. Squamous means the cells have the flat and tile-like structure. Tiles like structures, flat and tiles-like structures are epithelial cells are present. Then will be called as squamous. Here stratified and keratinized. That means keratin will be present in the cells. So it is called stratified keratinized squamous epithelium and or compound keratinized squamous epithelium. This type of cells are present in the skin. Skin have example stratified keratinized squamous epithelium. Some of the striated and non-keratinized non-keratinized squamous epithelium cells are also there in the inner lining of ducts, inner lining of ducts and salivary glands, like those areas. Here non-stratified keratinized, non-keratinized stratified and non-keratinized squamous epithelium cells are present. Next, some of the stratified and cuboidal. Stratified, and here we can say about depending upon the structure of the cell, function and shape and structure of the cell. Compound epithelium are also defined, classified into the structure of the cell. If the stratified cells have the keratinized, then stratified keratinized squamous epithelium. If the stratified keratin is absent, then we call stratified non-keratinized squamous epithelial tissue. Next, striated cuboidal epithelium. Here striated and cuboidal, that means striated means so many layers of cube shaped cells are there. So many layers of cube shaped cells are there. Such type of cells you can observe in urinary bladder, bladder. Okay, such type of cells. So compound epithelium tissue, stratified keratinized squamous epithelial, striated and stratified non-keratinized and stratified cuboidal epithelium tissue. Now third one, glandular epithelial tissue. Glandular epithelium tissue. Here generally cylindrical shape, the cells have cylindrical long and cylindrical shapes, but specific character is there. One is secretion. The secretion process will be done in this epithelial tissue, then it is called a glandular epithelial tissue. The secretion. So here the secretion means some glands are present in the epithelial tissue. The presence of these glands, here two types of the cells is there. Single gland glandular epithelial tissue or multi-glandular epithelial tissue. Single gland epithelial tissue or multi-gland epithelial tissue. Single gland means each cell have only single gland only. Such type of cells, such type of tissues is called a single gland epithelial tissue. The next, multicellular glandular tissue, that means each cell have multi glands as there, multi-gland is there, then such type of epithelial tissue is called multi-glandular epithelial tissue. Number of glands is there, more than one gland is there in a single cell. Okay, now such type of epithelial tissue is called glandular epithelial. Glandular epithelial means the secretion process will be done by this epithelial tissues. Here glands means how many types of glands? Generally glands have two types: exocrine glands, endocrine glands. Exocrine glands and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands. What is exocrine glands? Is the gland secretion. If any of the gland will be secrete, that secretion chemical will be passed on through the duct. Any of the duct or vessel. This chemical will be passed on through the duct or any vessel. Such type of glands is called a exocrine gland. This gland secrete this chemical. It is called enzymes. Generally we will call enzymes. Example of exocrine glands, mammary glands, salivary glands, digestive glands, all are the exocrine glands. All are the exocrine glands. Now, second one, endocrine glands. Endocrine glands. Endocrine glands are called ductless glands. Ductless glands. These glands, they will be secrete the secretion directly by the blood. There is no any duct or blood or vessels are present, so it is called ductless glands. This secretion will be directly secreted by the blood. Such those chemical are secreted by this endocrine is called hormones. Okay. Glands are mainly two types, exocrine gland and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands will be secrete the secretion by, they will be transported by the vessel or duct. So such type of gland is called exocrine gland. Example, mammary gland, salivary gland and digestive glands, all are including to this exocrine glands. But endocrine gland ductless gland. That means that these glands don't have the any duct. The secretion will be directly secrete by the blood. The chemical name is hormones. Now, secretion, how the secretion, mode of the secretion, depending mode of the secretion, how many types of the secretion will be passed on by the cells. Depending upon the secretion, cells have the three types, merocrine, apocrine, holocrine. Merocrine, apocrine, holocrine. Merocrine glands, here there is no any disturbance, internal remaining substance are present in the cell, there is no any disturbance, but those the secretion will be removed by the cell. Then remaining internal organs or internal material will not be disturbed, only the secretion will be secreted by the cell. That is a merocrine type of secretion. Next, apocrine, the apical part of the cell, the hormones or secretion or enzymes, these are all present in the upper part or apical part of the cell, the around the cell, and this apical part will be removed by the cell. Such type of secretion is called apocrine secretion. Holocrine secretion, here complete cell will be removed by the gland. Such type of secretion is called a holocrine secretion. Merocrine secretion will be present in the example in pancreas. They only release the chemicals, that's all. There is any damage of the cells or cell internal organs. Apocrine organs. Apocrines are present in mammary glands. Such type of secretion process will be done in mammary glands. Holocrine glands, sebaceous glands. Here holocrine secretion process will be done in sebaceous glands.